Everybody, today we're going to do an oil change on this Ford Expedition 2004 with a Triumph 4.6 liter. It also works with a 5.4, they're almost alike. As you can see, it says 5W30, but I don't know if it requires it. If you want, leave a comment in the below, see what you think. But usually I go with what it says, 5W30 synthetic. People usually say 5W30 is better, but we'll see. I do recommend getting 2 bottles from Walmart. At the final end, you waste $50, but it'll last you a while if you just buy 1 jug every, oil change. It'll last you a while. Also, and you do need 6 quarts, by the way. Also, you need a catch pan, and I recommend getting this cap off before you go down there. People have messed up, and trust me, they don't want to end up closing that thing just because of that. Also, you need a funnel. You can use ratchets or a wrench, 5/8 with a socket, doesn't really matter. I recommend going this route. You can get one of these little guys to do the oil filter. It's much better than using pliers and struggling through. That's what I've been using. Also a little grease gun, just in case, you need to grease up your ball joints or something. I recommend doing it on every oil change. And also parts cleaner, which I got brake cleaner parts, been using a little bit, just to clean whatever oil's left over. And also we got some summer formula here, little windshield wiper fluid, just fill it up. I recommend doing it once you're down there anyway. And I think that'll be it. And also you can get some stickers if you go to O'Reilly's. And I do got the model number of the filter. Give me a sec. This is the filter I usually use. I use a Wix 51372. This is what they gave me in O'Reilly's. They said there was another model number, but I usually tell them since my truck, the 5.4 and this one, they both match up. This is what I recommend. But I think it was the 5.4. They always talk about it's better to get the 10W30 oil than 5W20. So I don't know if that is true. As I mentioned, leave in the comments. Maybe we could talk about it down in the comments to see what people think. I've just been going for what the truck says, but I think the other one is a bit thicker and I think it's much better, but I also don't know. All right, so let's get started. Right before we start, I recommend taking the oil cap off. And put it where the latch is, so in case you close the hood, it won't easily, you won't close it and it won't close easily. And also take the dipstick out. So grab some air and we'll get started here in a minute. Okay, so the oil drain plug will be under the engine. You go either passenger or driver's side. And the drain bolt is right here, which you can't see much well, but it's right behind the sway bar. And luckily this ain't one of those that, when you change the oil goes through the sway bar. It's really rare. So we're gonna get this guy loosened up and get started. As I mentioned, you need a 5/8. I like using little wrenches, or wrenches more than ratchets, and get the sucker popped. There we go. It was tied on. It's been a while since I changed this little guy. Not too long actually. I think it was maybe 4 months ago maybe. And I'm going to upgrade it from conventional oil to synthetic, so it's going to be new to it. It had synthetic before, but now this is something new. So let me get this going, drained. I might have to get a little wrenching wrench, which I do have. I thought I was going to get it out quickly, but looks like we might need it. So there we go, and get that little guy started. And I hope I am right. I have messed up once yesterday, and hope I get the hole into the proper area. And there we go. There we go. Let that drain out, and I'll be back when it finish draining. Okay, now that we got all the oil dripping, we're gonna start adding in back the drain bolt, which is starting to. There we are. I'm gonna just put it back on and snug it on, and also expect it if it's good and everything, which I forgot to mention. But usually it's looked good to me, so we're good to go. And just gotta snug it up as I mentioned. Snug. And after this, we will have to go directly to the oil filter, which I do apologize. So give me a couple seconds. Okay, so right in front of the engine, right over here in the front of the truck, you do see an oil filter up in the front. And this is why I mean by you need this tool, because it's a little difficult for a pair of pliers. I mean, you can, but you're gonna struggle more. But right before you do that, put the oil pan a little under the filter. Do not put it where this little rail is. As you can see, this little rail doesn't work well. I've done it so many times that it just spits it right behind. So have your little oil drain pan over here, as you can see, right under the filter. Don't go over here. First when I did this, I made a huge mess, and now I just do it that way. So I'm just giving a heads up, and you'll see how this tool works. Trust me, this is really worth the dollars, the money and everything. If you do need more extensions, you could get it more bigger, but mostly this one will do it for me. And maybe I need to change my ratchet to another one, because this one does not well with teeth. There we go, he's going. The reason why I have this tool for just these Fords right here. I mean, there could be other cars, but this one's a pain in the butt once you get it going. And it doesn't want to lock on right now, but I'll get them going again. Or have one of those little filter socket things. You can do that too. Man, maybe I need a little more bigger extension. So I'll be back. Okay, tent number 2 with a bigger, a little more bigger extension. Just a little bit. And we're gonna start. There we go, hunched on, and there it goes. So all I need was just a little bit more leverage, and it will start spilling here pretty soon. And there's a little sheep rubbing against my foot. What are you doing, little dude? Why are you rubbing against my foot? Oh, it's the goat. Never mind. Yeah, we do have some animals, so you might hear them. And see, as I mentioned, you don't see it coming out here. You see it going directly there. That's why I say put it under the filter, because at the long run, it's just, I don't know why they designed this plastic for. But, you know, some companies, the engineers are like, oh, let's do this. And then when they finally do it, they never test time. Yes, they just like, hey, yeah, let's do this. But yeah, there we go. The old filter is out. And it's a 51372. That's what this filter is. I'm going to make sure if the other one is the same one. I felt like I wasn't sure. But they do say that the threads are different. So, you know, so there we are. A 51372. It's oil filter, just in case mine's wrong, to check. I'm gonna go check real quick and see how it is. Just give me a bit. Right before we go down there, put some little oil around this little gasket so, you know, you can sit well, and next time you can change the oil very easier and the filter will come out easier. This is the perfect time to also check if your oil filter came with this gasket. And it is 51372. I do want to mention this one does take it. Yours could probably take another one, since people are saying, the O'Reilly's guy was saying there was 2 types of filters, and this one was the smaller one. So, you know, or this is the bigger one, so it's a big boy. I mean, you can see it's, my hands are fully grabbing it. So we're gonna install it and snug it up. It's a big filter. But there we go. And as you can see, it just barely, a little bit of oil, but that's like the oil that the filter had, which, as I mentioned, it's kind of dumb. I think they only made it once you get it out of there. It starts draining here, but what would be the point if, you know, you wanted to drain the oil can? But there we are. They have to snug it up. All right, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now we start adding our oil, and it takes 6 quarts. Make sure your drain plug and your filter is on. Before you do this, usually after this, I usually turn on the engine for a minute, let it run, so the oil can circulate through the system into the filter as well. All right, so we're gonna get started. Give me sake, the goat's kind of getting in my way. He's kind of being nosy. Hope I can aim it. There we go. First round is gonna take the whole 5 quarts. I'll catch y'all here in a bit. Okay, so I'm gonna check on the oil real quick before I turn it on. Give it a dipstick a quick wipe. Insert it and check it. Check where it's at. If it's a little over, it's okay, since it's a little over, but since still it needs to turn on, let the oil go in through the oil filter, and then it should be good. So we're gonna turn it on, let it run for a minute, and then check the oil again. So let me do that real quick. And check if you got your filter and your drain plug back to the way they belong. All right, be back in a bit. All right, time to check how the oil's going. Let's see. Wipe. Enter it again. And let me check. Looks like it needs a little more, but I think it was 6 quarts. I'll check it when the engine settles down a bit. All right, just check and you'll be ready to go. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good day.